Hey everybody, it's Mr. Hasquin, and I'm back with more things that you should know by being alive. And today I'm talking about Nat Turner's Rebellion. It's one of the most significant acts of resistance in American history. So, first off, who was Nat Turner? Nat Turner was born into slavery in 1800 in Southampton County, Virginia. He was a deeply religious man, and by all accounts, intelligent, serious, and he believed that he had a divine purpose. And so from a young age, Nat Turner claimed to have visions and signs from God. He learned to read and write, which was rare for an enslaved person. He also became known as the prophet among fellow enslaved people. But Turner wasn't just spiritual. He was watching, he was thinking, he was waiting. And he saw the brutality of slavery every day, the beatings, the forced labor, the denial of dignity, And he believed that God was calling him to lead his people out of bondage, just like Moses. So, how does the rebellion begin? On August 21st of 1831, Nat Turner launches his rebellion. He and a small group of followers began at the Travis plantation where Turner was enslaved. They killed the entire family in a rather brutal way. Then they began moving from farm to farm, freeing enslaved people and killing white men, women, and even children. And by the end, nearly 60 white people were dead, and Turner had hoped that the rebellion and news of the rebellion would spark a massive uprising across the South, bringing about a full-scale revolution. But it didn't. And within 48 hours, the rebellion was crushed by local militias and federal troops. Turner went into hiding for about 2 months before he was captured. This is a depiction of him being captured. He was eventually tried and then hanged. So, the aftermath here, what's going on? The reaction. Well, the reaction was immediate and brutal. White mobs and militias they went on a rampage. And in the weeks that followed, they killed at least 100 black people, most of whom had nothing to do with Nat Turner's rebellion. In the courtroom, Turner remained composed. He explained his actions in a now famous document called The Confessions of Nat Turner, which was recorded by a white lawyer named Thomas Gray. Turner said that he was driven by divine visions, that he saw himself as an instrument of God's wrath against slavery. So he was hanged on November 11th of 1831. His body was flayed and then mutilated. His skull was then reportedly passed around as a trophy for some time. So the legacy or the controversy behind Nat Turner's rebellion. Nat Turner's rebellion terrified the South. It shattered the myth that enslaved people were content, that they were passive. In response, then, the southern states began to pass even stricter slave codes, like banning education for black people, restricting religious gatherings, tightening patrols and surveillance on the slaves. To white Southerners, Turner was just a dangerous fanatic. It was proof that slavery had to be defended at all costs. To others, especially abolitionists in the North, Turner was a symbol of righteous resistance, a man that was pushed to the edge by a system that denied him his humanity. Even today, his legacy is complicated. Was he a hero? Was he a terrorist? Was he a martyr? And the answer to this just often depends on where you stand on history's moral scale. But there's no denying Nat Turner forced America to reckon with the horrors of slavery. And it showed how far people would go for freedom. So, just kind of to close it up here, to wrap it up. Nat Turner's rebellion was bloody, and it was tragic. And It should be unforgettable. It was born from the violence of slavery, and the rebellion changes the South forever. It'll inspire others later on. So, if you learned something today, please like or share or follow me, and I'll do my best to put out more things that you should know by being alive. Understanding history means, wrestling with the hard truths too. Thanks for watching.